I am Kat, and this week's Top 5 Wednesday is your top 5 favourite urban fantasies. So urban fantasy is defined as fantasy that happens in the modern day, so that could be like in the 80s, that could be today, or it could be in the future. The last 3 Wednesday topics have been about romances and couples because of Valentine's Day, so I'm really glad to have a topic where I don't have to talk about love and couples, and I can just talk about some kick-ass urban fantasy books. So let's do it. Number 1, The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. So we should all know about the Shadowhunters world by now, and The Mortal Instruments is the first series written, but it's not the first series in the timeline. The Mortal Instruments actually takes place in 2007, which is actually when the books started being written. And this copy was printed in 2007. In the back of the book there's actually an ad for City of Ashes, and it says the Shadowhunter War rages on in 2008. It was 10 years ago. Whew. So if you somehow don't know, The Mortal Instruments is about a girl named Clary. She has just lived a normal life, but one day her mother goes missing and she comes across like these Shadowhunters. Well, she doesn't know they're Shadowhunters then. She starts seeing all these things and she finds out that she's a Shadowhunter herself and that her father's really not a nice guy, and then all this action happens. And yeah, for those of you who want to get into the Shadowhunters books but don't want to read like City of Bones because you've tried before or you just haven't heard good things about it, start with this but keep pushing through. When I first read it, it took me a month to get through the beginning of this book, but once you're through, it's good. So at least get to City of Glass before you make a judgment and before you head on over to the Infernal Devices, which is series set in the past. Like, you can read the books out of publication order, they just make a lot more sense in publication order because that's the way Cassandra Clare was thinking when she was writing them. And if you read them in publication order, you get to see Cassandra Clare's writing get better and better and better. Number 2, we're staying with Cassie Clare and going with the Dark Artifices series. This is the series that happens after The Mortal Instruments, so if you're going to read it, make sure you read it after you finish The Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices, and probably Shadowhunter Academy because there's a lot of references to that, and you know, maybe the Bane Chronicles as well. But anyway, the Dark Artifices series takes place in 2012. Yes, we haven't finished the series yet, but Cassie can only write so fast, so the Shadowhunters, you know, not catching up with us just yet. And you know what's funny is these characters are actually the same age as me. Emma and Julian were born in 95, which is the same year I was born. But like, they're younger than me because I'm reading about 2012. The story of this one is that there's Emma, whose parents were killed during all the attacks that happened in the Mortal Instruments. So she lives with the Blackthorns at the Los Angeles Institute, and there's like 7 Blackthorn children, and things are just crazy in this series. Like, we've had so much world building through the other series, but by the time you get to this, she can just like do whatever she wants. And the tagline for the last book, Queen of Air and Darkness, is everything changes. I'm terrified. 3, I'm pretty sure this one's urban fantasy, and that is the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series by Laini Taylor. So this one's kind of hard to explain. There's this girl, Karou, she lives in Prague, and she's an art student, and she lives a normal life, but she's also been raised by like this monster thing. And in his shop there's like a portal to like another world where there's all these chimeras, and there's angels, and there's a war, and it's really hard to explain, but it's really good. And some people have complained about insta-love in this story, but those people didn't continue on. It's not insta-love, there is a reason behind it, you just have to keep reading to find out that reason. Number 4, I don't know where I've put these books, but that is the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. If you somehow don't know what the Percy Jackson series is about, there is this boy, Percy. He has lived a normal life with his mom. He's 11 in the first book. Yes, 11. But then he finds out he's a demigod and his father is Poseidon. So he goes to this summer camp for demigods, and you get to see him grow up throughout the course of the series. And there's a lot of Greek mythology woven in, and there's a lot of action, and I don't know how 11-year-olds are allowed to do everything that they do in these books. But yeah, it's really good. And I haven't read the Heroes of Olympus series yet, but it is on my near TBR. And lastly, 5, I'm pretty sure this one is urban fantasy as well, and that is Splintered by A.G. Howard. This one is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, and it was a total cover buy for me because look how pretty this is, and if you open it, you probably can't see that, but the writing is purple. So this book is gorgeous outside and in, and A.G. Howard really writes these like vivid worlds that would look really good on screen if they were done well. So the story is that there's this girl, Alyssa, and she's descendant from Alice Liddell, who inspired the Alice in Wonderland stories. And Alyssa has this ability to talk to bugs and plants. Her mother also has this ability, but her mother has been institutionalized because everyone thinks she's crazy, so Alyssa has just kept this ability to herself. But one day, Alyssa finds this copy of Alice in Wonderland, and there's this like moth that she sees everywhere, and she ends up falling down the rabbit hole. And it's really good. There's 3 books and like a bonus book, and I really love Morpheus. So there you go, my top 5 urban fantasy books. I tried to stay with fantasy and not put in any paranormal. Comment down below what your favorite urban fantasy book is, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. There'll be more top 5 Wednesdays and TBRs and tags and skits coming in the future.